As the Story Grows, I'm Brian Patton. Today we welcome Devin Shidaker, guitarist for the Acacia Strain, to the podcast. The new Acacia Strain record, You Are Safe from God Here, is out this Friday on Rise Records. Devin talks about the Ohio metalcore scene, how the Acacia Strain approaches writing new music, the current state of touring for the band, and a lot more. This was an excellent conversation, and I want to give a shout out to Tim at Adam Splitter PR for helping make it happen. Thanks so much for checking out this episode of As the Story Grows. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. Thanks for checking us out. You can find links in our show notes or at asthestorygrows.com for our Discord server, our mailing list, and our Patreon page, where $1 a month gets you early access to every episode. And if you enjoy the podcast, I would love it if you subscribed on your favorite podcast platform of choice. Enjoy today's conversation with Devin from the Acacia Strain. In doing my research on you, the one thing I could not pinpoint was where you grew up.
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yep.
Nice. What was that like? Did you kind of grow up in the metalcore heyday?
Yeah, pretty much. I was in high school when stuff really started to pop off.
Yeah.
There was, because it was still like, it was the very early days of like bands doing stuff online.
Yeah.
So you had like hxcmp3.com was like, you could find bands on there, but there wasn't like, MySpace hadn't even started yet. And Columbus was still like, it was kind of stuck in the, like new metal stuff still a bit. And then there was this band, Capital Tragedy, who like they used to be a band called what was it? At least like some of the main guys from the band. It was a band, they were called Pot, but it was like it was like Payable on Thought or something like that, something something that was like, oh, we're going to be called Pot, but it was like very much like kind of new metal thing. And then they kind of like started this other band that was more metalcore. It was a little Every Time I Die, but a little more like moshy. There are a lot of mosh parts. And nice. And that's like, that brought everybody in the scene was like, oh yeah, we can. It made everybody start to check out these other bands, and then they got very popular in the scene. And unfortunately, they just never made it happen. Like they did a couple tours, but they were huge in Columbus. And then, which doesn't really happen anymore. You never have bands that just like get huge in their hometown. And that's it.
Yeah.
But just back then, like labels sucked. Even like the good labels, like
right.
Victory, you hear every horror story about every band that was signed to Victory. But everybody was trying to start their own labels. So it's like, oh yeah, we're going to sign you guys. And then they get screwed over and nothing really ends up happening. And unfortunately, like Kent, their singer, and then their guitar player both like passed away.
Oh, geez.
If you're familiar with Beartooth.
Yeah.
Ashi, their bass player, he was in Capital Tragedy.
Okay. Cool.
There are a bunch of members in the band, but he's like, so every time I see them doing well, I'm like, he's been in it forever. So
yeah. Rarely do those people just come out of nowhere. I mean, occasionally, but rarely do they just come out of nowhere and explode. It's like
right. There's usually like there's got to be some tie somewhere. Like everyone in that band,
they earn their dues.
Yeah.
Even Caleb, it's like coming from like the fucking Stickly video to be a bear dude. That's like, good job, dude.
Me and my like friend group growing up, there were like, we had some friends from Delaware, Ohio, which was north of Columbus, and this dude had moved out from, I want to say Colorado, and he was like living with his grandma in Delaware. And he started hanging out with us, and he's like, oh, I want to be in a band. And we were playing, my old band was playing a show at a venue called, I think it was Little Brothers.
Okay.
And he came with us. He's like, I want to go to the show. Like, and got a ride. And there was a local band playing like the opening slot that didn't have a singer. And like, anyone wants to come up and like scream with us, do whatever. And that friend was Austin, and that band was Attack.
Oh, wow.
Well, ended up becoming Attack.
Yeah.
From what I recall, you know. But yeah, like we're a lot of things I won't get into that, like why we stopped being friends with him, like
sure.
a long time ago, and why nobody really is anymore. Just bad friend stuff, and then that turned into like bad person stuff. And
yeah,
have a nice life, but
yeah,
it's good to see Caleb doing it. Tom, their manager, we've known each other since we were teenagers, and now we're pushing 40.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. It's cool how those little scenes and pockets kind of grow and expand and become its own thing nationally. Like, whether it's DC or, Boston, it's just like each scene has its own time and place, and it takes on its own life.
And it's great. And it's cool because there's people that you would know from back in the day that are still doing it, and you're almost never surprised. It's always like, that was that person was not going to give up. Their band might not have worked out, but that was never a roadblock. They were never like, oh, well, now what do I do? They're just like, okay, well, that didn't work out. Let me do something else. And it's like, our whole industry, at least like our pocket of it, is made up of like just people that were in bands currently or at some point. Like every booking agent, every manager, everyone has done it at some point. Like our manager was in Stick to Your Guns like 100 years ago. And he's not like, hey man, it's Ryan, I used to be in Stick to Your Guns. He's just like, it's just an, oh yeah, like he also did this. But it always makes it easier to like accomplish things when you have people on your team that like get what it's like to do this, as opposed to like, well, the sales figures and these numbers, we need to pump these streams up. No.
Right.
They know how it actually works, so that's always good.
Right. They understand touring as a heavy band, as opposed to like, why don't you make a funny TikTok video? Yeah.
And I see that, and it's like, it's always so frustrating to me. Like when I see bands where their whole existence is like content, and while I'm not going to say that content doesn't matter, you can't manufacture like being viral. Like we had a lot of friends in bands that they popped off, and it's because of something on TikTok or whatever, and they weren't trying to do it. It's never somebody like, all right, here's the next thing we're going to try. Let's try this. It's just somebody did a stupid dance with their song, and everyone else is like, I want to do that. And it pops off, and then they are huge. And it's like, you can't manufacture that. It just happens. So it's, I'm not going to say that content is not important and that like bands should just ignore those platforms, but focus mostly on your music.
Yeah. People could tell.
Yeah.
What leads you to guitar as your instrument of choice or focus?
Well, I started on drums. That was what I played first. I was in band in middle school, and it was funny when I joined, I also wanted to be in orchestra.
Okay.
And I wanted to play viola, like not only because it was like not as small as violin, it was like a little bigger. And they were straight up like, you can be in band or you can be in orchestra. You can't do percussion and a stringed instrument.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I guess I'll play drums. So I was in band for like 4 years, and when I got into high school, we did. I was going to be. I really wanted to do jazz band. I just wanted to do jazz band because at that point I was focusing more on like drum set and playing with like friends and stuff. And I was like, well, I don't want to do marching band. And I'm like, I guess I would do concert band again, but I really just want to do jazz band. And they're like, you can do marching band or you can do marching band, concert band, and jazz band, but you can't just do jazz band. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that. And I was like, okay, if I do marching band, can I play like snare or tenor? And they're like, we want to put you on bottom bass drum because you're big enough to carry it. And I was like, that's no. Have fun with that. Yeah, so
peace.
with just playing with friends. And funny enough, the thing that like never happens, nobody needed a drummer, which is shocking.
Normal. Yeah.
Usually like every drummer you know is in 4 bands.
Yeah.
And like at that point I'd been playing bass and I've been playing guitar, which I taught myself and was playing guitar first, but I like was playing bass and some friends needed a bass player in their band. And I was like, I can play bass. I'll do that. But I still was like, I'm a drummer.
Yeah.
I just happen to be playing bass in this band. And then me and some friends like jam, because the most I could get like on drums was like a friend jamming at my house. It was never like a band. So my friend Rob came over, and it was him and my friend Kevin, who was Acacia Strain's merch guy for a long time and tour manager for a number of years. And we were kind of all jamming, and like I was playing drums, but I kept like showing him stuff on guitar, like, oh, try do something like this. And the next day at school, he was like kind of talking shit.
Oh yeah.
Like not to me, but like
about you.
Yeah. And it's like, I wouldn't even know. I don't even know necessarily say it was talking shit, but he's like, I don't know why he's focusing on like being a drummer. He's a way better guitar player. And I was like, like overheard it. And I'm like, oh, and I was like, well, maybe I should focus on that.
That's funny.
And I was like, I'm fine on drums. Like my feet have always just been like, whatever. Like when I see people like, even like our drummer doing like crazy, just like fast foot stuff, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But hands fine. But guitar is just like one of those things that I feel like I've always had like an understanding of how to play it, and I've always seen like where improvements can be made and how to make them. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I always get better at guitar. And I always want to get better at guitar, and like I can pick it up and play, and I can hear something and be like, oh, this is what's being played. Here's how I can add to it. Here's all these different ways I can approach that part.
Yeah.
On drums, not so much. So I focus more on being a guitar player, and also in times living in like, once you get a little bit older and you have like an apartment and that kind of stuff, you're not playing drums anymore. Unless you want to rent a storage unit or something where you can go and play. And it's like, I don't have time for that. So I was playing guitar, and my old band, like we left on our first tour like 3 days after we graduated high school.
Nice.
I've been doing it ever since, and there's many tours where it was just like nightmare, stuff falls apart.
Yeah.
I've made every possible mistake you can make, like as far as like poor decisions go with like who to trust and how to like put things together. Like our last tour that we ever did, we were like, okay, everyone was like on like, this is it. Like we have to really go for it or call it a day. And my bright idea was like, well, most people are touring in the spring and the summer and the fall, so there will be less like competition for shows if we book in the winter. Yeah. And so let's book a 2-month long winter tour by ourselves, like with no booking agent. Like we'll just do it. Still MySpace era, so we're just messaging promoters on MySpace and putting this tour together that was just brutal. We had like a conversion van with like the little TV and everything, and we were sleeping in that thing every day.
Oh, jeez.
And because we didn't want to waste gas, we would like turn the van off and just be in there, like jackets and everything, in the like captain's chair, just freezing. And of course, I'm like, why did we do this? And then there was like a week out of the 2 months that we were in Florida, and I'm like, this is great. We're having a good time. And then we left, and it was like, why?
Yeah.
And then we essentially broke up after that because Kevin, who's my best friend, he quit. He's like, I gotta like focus on myself and like I need to work. And I was like, I'd started that band, and I was just like, well, he's not doing it, because at that point he was the only other person there that was there from like
the OG.
Essentially the beginning, because I was originally the bass player, moved to guitar, and then we brought him in. And I'm just like, if he's not doing it, I'm done.
Yeah, you're out.
Let me do something else. And then I think it was like a month maybe before like I joined another band and was like, all right, back on the road. Because I was living on Ohio State, like on campus, basically in campus housing with a bunch of friends. And I was sharing a room with a friend where I slept on the floor in a sleeping bag. So the second I could find a band to play in that was touring, I was like, all right, yep,
I'm out.
gone.
I'm not going to dwell on your time in Oceano, but what leads you from Oceano to the Acacia Strain as their guitar player?
Yeah, so quick summary. The band I was talking about had done like a weekend of shows with Oceano, and after that band, I was with Rose Funeral for like 9 months and just didn't mesh with everybody. They, just wasn't working out for me, and I quit. And I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to find another band. And the guitar player for Oceano from my understanding, he was getting kicked out, found out, so he's like did the whole "you can't fire me, I quit" kind of thing. Posted a big thing about how he's quitting, and I saw that and was like, oh, I know those guys, let me send a message. And I sent a message on MySpace, and Adam Singer was like, hey, I remember you. Like, yeah, make some videos. He was just getting on there to turn the messages off, because he's like, we're going to get bombarded with people asking to be in the band.
Yeah.
But I actually knew him, so it was like, yeah, make some videos. And I did that. I was in the band for a few years, and Acacia Strain had been one of my favorite bands for a long time. We ended up touring together, and we shared a bus. So we got to know each other really well. And up to that point, DL, the old guitar player, was not touring, and they had a bunch of fill-ins. And the fill-ins weren't really happy being fill-ins, and the band wasn't happy really having fill-in guitar players who, like, they kept the band alive, but it was kind of like, they kind of felt like the live show was suffering. And near the end of 2012, I felt like the stuff with Oceano was kind of like going downhill for a bit. I could just see the writing on the wall, and it was like our drummer was going to quit, and he was like probably my best friend in the band. Like, those guys are all really great friends of mine, but like at the time I was like, oh, Danny's going to quit. I'm like, and I wasn't like, I'm going to quit, but this opportunity kind of popped up.
Yeah.
And I just kind of was like, well, I'm not going to quit my band to be a fill-in. Like, I'd have to be an actual member of the band that writes and does all this stuff. And they were like, we can probably make that work. And I was like, okay, well, that's a different story then.
Yeah.
And, made some videos, And the most important thing was like we got along. We'd already like done a tour in the same vehicle for like a long summer tour, and we got along really well. So it was kind of like it fit. And then when I joined, it's just been like all of our like our senses of humor, everything is they're all the same. So we just meshed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the beginning of 2013, and here we are coming up on 2026.
Yeah. Long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had kind of written, recorded, released Incisions and then going right into Coma Witch, was there any sort of different mindset you had to take when writing for Acacia Strain?
Yeah, so I'm actually not on Incisions at all.
Oh, okay.
And that was one of the things I like was like, okay, well the band is like they're just starting to write, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna help finish writing, and then I'll come on, because there was a tour with like Every Time I Die that Acacia Strain did that I was like, I can't do that. I can come after that because they're supposed to be recording. I don't want to leave everybody high and dry. Mm-hmm. And I was writing stuff at home, and Adam was like, ended up like there. He was kind of giving me like the runaround, and then told me, he's like, we got somebody else to write with us. And I was like,
okay,
all right. And a lot of the stuff that I was writing ended up morphing around somewhat and became a lot of the stuff on Coma Witch. Like not a ton. There'd be like a riff here or there that like got altered because I was going through demos and going like, this would fit what we're trying to do. Mm-hmm. But it's also like, this is stuff that like the direction I wanted to pull Oceano that they, you know, Adam didn't want to go in. Like they wanted to do something that they thought was like more safe, and was like, because Incisions is almost like a new metal record, kind of. And I was like very not into that at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we need to go more aggressive and really lean into what we're doing. I don't want to play it safe and try to like appeal to like a more mainstream audience, because I'm like, I'm telling you that is not going to work. It did not work.
Yeah.
Then I've joined Acacia Strain, and we've been following that plan of like not trying to outdo ourselves, but it's always just like we're just making what we want to make, as opposed to like, I think people are going to like this. It's like, don't care.
Yeah.
Like, obviously we want people to like what we're doing, but I want to write the music that I want to listen to. Like, I want to get the stuff that I have inside out, you know, through guitar, through whatever we're doing. Everybody in the band writes little bits of everything. Vocals are, lyrics are almost entirely Vincent. Every once in a while, there'll be like a line where somebody might go like, what if you said this there? But rarely. But it's like, Matt will write guitar stuff. I'll write drum stuff. Griffin will write guitar stuff. Everybody's all over the place with like, you know, nobody has this whole thing where it's like, no, stay in your lane. Like, you're the drummer or you're the guitar player. I don't want to hear what your thoughts are on this pattern for drums. Like, it's all very just kind of like, yeah.
In the mindset of the band just kind of doing whatever you want, what led to the decision to kind of do Step Into the Light and Failure Will Follow as like kind of maybe more traditional Acacia Strain, fast, short songs, and the like sludgy, long songs?
Because there, for quite a while, we did the thing where it was like we'd end a record with like something that's doomier or longer.
Like the new album.
Yes. But it was like, all right, let's do an entire like just sludgy record.
Yeah.
But also do something that was also like the exact opposite of that. And the idea was that like those records were two sides of like the same coin, where there are a lot of parts that were on Step Into the Light that had been morphed and changed a bit to be a part on Failure Will Follow. And some of them like are very obvious, and there's some where people haven't caught on like that's the same part. And I'm like, how did you not notice that? But there's a lot of the stuff that is, especially on Basin of Vows, there's a lot of parts that are like, oh, this is that part, but played way sludgier and slowed down, and the drums are different. But it's like, it glues the records together. It's like just kind of different. The idea was like different realities, basically, of like the same situation.
Yeah.
So that was like Vincent's mindset going into it, and then musically, it was like, how do we connect these things that are more disconnected than anything? Like,
yeah,
because Step in the Light is very fast, and I wouldn't even say like traditional Acacia Strain, but I would say like it's faster. But with everything we do, we try to like, okay, what haven't we done? And not just for the sake of like, oh, we've never done this, let's do that now. But I like to think that we have like whatever like ever expanding box that we have as far as like what is the Acacia Strain. And with a lot of bands, I think that if you do the same or similar thing for too many records, that box becomes like a tomb.
Yeah.
You can't expand it anymore. It's just like, this is what this is. Because if you change now after doing 3-4 records of like basically the same thing, you're going to lose the people that you have.
Yeah.
But also the fact that you can't really expand it, you're not going to gain anybody else.
Yeah.
As far as listeners go, and you're going to get bored with it. And that's the big problem, is like, we don't ever want to get bored with what we're doing. So we're always seeing like every record, it's like, okay, what else can we fit in this box that makes, we can expand it a bit.
Yeah.
Still keeping everything that's in there, but it's like, what else fits here? And sometimes it's like, we're going to take a step outside of the box and be like, this doesn't fit, but we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And then you do it a right way, and it just like, it ends up adding.
Yeah. Yeah. Listening to the new record, it seems like a lot of that, well, there's always been doom and sludge elements to the band, especially over the last, 4 or 5 records. It seems to really carry over into the new record in some of the riff writing. I mean, do you feel that way?
Yeah. And I think a big part of it now is like really trying to marry the ideas of like, it doesn't have to be just this song is doomy and this song is fast or like is, punishing or whatever. It's like, oh, you can really like we understand how we write both of those things. So it's like, how can we, it's like the last song is long, but it's also like, there's a lot of the stuff that like would work anywhere on the record. And it's like, oh, you can have something that's like slow guitars with something crazy going on with drums and things that like make it feel more like energetic, as opposed to just like you're only doing this like doomy kind of crowbar thing.
Album's called You're Safe from God Here. I know all of that is Vince's area. What about this record, I think, was a thing you wanted to challenge yourself on as a band?
I think as far as like a challenge goes, it's just the only goal is to make something that we like. We want to be in the studio when if a part makes you like kind of laugh, like if there's somebody in the studio that like laughs because of how ridiculous a part is, you're like, okay, well that's in. That's absolutely in. And it's like it's strange because we don't really challenge ourselves much anymore. It's our writing process has gotten pretty like well oiled. We all everyone will be at home coming up with different ideas. We'll have a Dropbox with a bunch of demos, and then we just go through and listen. and everybody makes notes of like what they like, what they don't like. And we start to more come up with an outline of like, okay, this is what the vibe of the record is going to be. Mm-hmm. So you're picking the stuff that's like, that fits that. And by the time we get to the studio where we're actually going to write, we've got all these ideas and we know what we want to do. Mm-hmm. And most of the stuff from the demo phase doesn't make it to the record. It's just, it exists as like almost a writing exercise to get everybody on the same page. There's some stuff that will make it and you go, okay, let's pull this riff here and we'll write around it. But for the most part, it's all like written in the studio because we're all like, everyone has done the legwork to get on the right page of like what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we'll fire everything out and just like you'll have an idea. Everyone likes the idea. They'll have an idea and you're like, yep, that works. It just keeps going. So we'll get in the studio and we'll write like 2 or 3 songs a day. Which is what we did. I think we wrote and recorded 15 songs.
Oh, wow.
And then there's 12 that made the cut of like, this is what's going on the record. Cause we've also been like more recently, I guess, more about like, does this need to be here? Trim the fat as much as possible. Because like most bands we had for a long time, a lot of our songs were 4 or 5 minutes, and you go through and you at some point you're like, what? Did we need to repeat that part twice? So it's kind of like, if we can say what needs to be said in a minute and a half, that's a minute and a half song. And we're not shooting for that, but it's also like, we're not going to get to that like 90 seconds and have something that feels complete and then be like, okay, well, it's not long enough. We need to make it longer. Because it's at that point you're like, well, why are we doing that?
Yeah.
It's kind of like going to McDonald's and be like, well, like, let's supersize it. And it's, you don't need to, the medium's fine.
Yeah.
You don't need the extra.
Yeah.
It's going to make you feel like shit if you have the extra.
Right. Yeah. Way too many records where you're like on the 12th song and you're like, guys, I've heard this.
And that's like, so one of my favorite bands all time, Metallica. And for the longest time, I was very much like one of those guys, like the first records are the best ones. And then like I go back now and it's like I used to listen to And Justice for All like every day on the bus to high school.
Yeah.
At least like maybe like sophomore year or something like that. I'd all like constantly listen to that record. And going back, like I still like it, but every one of those songs, I'm like, this does not need to be 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
This could be like a good 4-minute song. You can cut half of this song out. Like, stop. Why are you doing this?
I mean, that's how I thought about Lux Eterna, where I'm like, these are fun songs. Why the fuck are they all 6 minutes long?
Dude, I have not been able to make it through the record. I get like 3 songs and I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I love this band, but I'm also like, I don't hate this, but it's like, it's not doing it for me because the songs are so long.
Right.
If they're happy doing it, cool. Because they're also a band that's at a point in their career none of us will get to.
Right.
Like, and have been for a long time where they don't have to do anything.
No.
It's like 100% for the love of the game. Mm-hmm. And I respect that. It's like nobody is like, when are we getting a new Metallica record? They're just like, we want to make it because this is what we enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So I respect that.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I'm still like, I liked Hardwired a lot.
Okay.
I'm still an apologist where I'll be like, they still got a good record in them. They can do it. Will they? Who knows? Yeah. But I believe in that band.
Yeah.
And not to get hung up on Metallica too much because I can talk about that for hours. I will say, of all of like the massive like headlining acts in the heavy metal world, mm-hmm. I would say Metallica is like the number one band that will still give like small bands a chance and kind of keep their ears up. They're taking Knock Loose on tour.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's fucking wild. Yeah.
We took Knock Loose on tour.
Yeah.
And, you know, that band deserved every bit of success that they have and will get in the future. But there's a lot of those like older bands that kind of like, they only play on nostalgia. So it's like, you're only going to see them take out bands that like were also of the era.
Yeah.
They're not taking out new acts. Or if they do, it's like, yeah, we're taking out this new band, Five Finger Death Punch. And it's like, Metallica is also taking.
Yeah.
They did last year. But along with like other bands like Ice Nine Kills and whatever, which, you know, the older I listen to Metallica on the radio, rock dads, they're not going to hear those bands if they don't see them with Metallica. So it's cool. We had this whole there was, during the start of like the 72 Seasons tour, I think there was this whole like tour economy that like happened because of them, where it was Metallica and they were taking out like Pantera, who like had just like reformed.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who else, but so there's Metallica tour with Pantera. Metallica doesn't play every day, so they have days off. On days off, Pantera was playing with Lamb of God. And on those days off, Lamb of God was playing with us. And on those days off, we had headlining shows that we had like No Cure and these bands out. And then when we had shows with Lamb of God, like they were doing their own like tour. So it was like this whole thing that came down because Metallica was doing a tour. Yeah. And it's like, you don't see that a lot with other bands. It's just kind of like, you actually can't play anywhere remotely near, you can't play shows on the day off. You can't do this. And it's like, it was this whole trickle down thing that was really crazy to see.
Speaking of shows, I went to the band's website. Looks like you currently only have the 2 Christmas shows on the calendar. I don't know, you've been in this band for a long time, in the music industry for a long time. I don't know if it's a COVID shift or a streaming shift, or just like you've been a band for a long time, in the way bands approach touring and release cycles, and like not needing to like rush out their albums out. So we got to hit the road.
I think that, that's still a thing. However, I think that we are at a place as a band where it's like, we believe in the record and we have enough people that listen to us regularly that are excited about it, where we don't have to be like, hey, we put a record out, let's go play in front of everybody. And it's also like, that doesn't matter. Like, I think since I've been in the band, the only record that like sold less than like the record before it was Grave Bloom.
Okay.
And we were on Warped Tour when that came out. But we had a manager at the time that was like, we had our longtime manager, Scott Lee. And before we ended up with Ryan, who we're with now, Dog, we had another guy who he kind of dropped the ball. He didn't really have much of a release plan. And there was a lot of like blaming the label, or it was a lot of like blame shifting, and not like, hey, we just didn't come up with anything.
Yeah.
We sat on Grave Bloom for like a year, because it was like, record was done. We waited for a long time to get artwork. And then by the time artwork was done, it was kind of like, you can either release this like imminently, like really soon, like too soon to be able to like plan something around, or we release it on Warped Tour and there's time to do whatever. So it's like, let's do that. Not knowing that like he's not putting any other kind of plan on to market the record.
Yeah.
So now we're a lot more hands-on with that. Yeah. And thankfully the team is like great. But if we toured, you can sell some more records, but it's also like the way like the SoundScan stuff works now is different than it was before. Because we did Coma Witch, and we did a release tour with that, where we basically we took a pay cut on the tour and included in the ticket price like a download code.
Okay.
So like if you went to the show, you bought the record by attending the show. Now you can't really do that because you can give everybody a download code, but they're just going to stream it. They're like, why to download a record? And people ask occasionally with like when we press a record, it's like, is it coming with a download code? I'm like, dude, tell me you don't like have a streaming service of some sort.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of like if you go and tour on it, you'll sell records, but the people are going to buy those records regardless.
Yeah, right.
At least for us, because we're not going out and playing for like on a headliner. We're not playing in front of new people for the most part.
Yeah.
Every time there's new people at every show, but it's kind of like at this point, it's not like where you're cutting your teeth and playing and like everybody in the show in the room has never heard of you. It's like, we're talking like 5% of the crowd now is like new to us.
Yeah.
And it might be the first time seeing us for other people, but I mean, very small percentage that like got dragged to the show by a friend who's like, I haven't really listened to you guys before.
Yeah.
Just doesn't happen anymore, which is cool.
Yeah.
But because of that, we can release a record and be like, we'll tour on it. We'll tour on it eventually. We don't need to like put it out and do a thing.
Right. And by that time, everybody's heard the record and they're hyped on the new songs. And it's not like, all right, here's a song from the new record. Everyone's just like standing around.
That's the thing. That's another thing. It's like, it's really hard to tour on a brand new record and want to play all of it without like, if it just came out,
everybody off. Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. So then you end up just doing a tour where you're like, yeah, we're playing the 3 singles we've released and
all of
old songs. Because we did the tour with Between the Buried and Me, where it was 2 nights in every city, and we did Step in the Light and Failure Will Follow, like one each night, plus some extra songs. That went over well because the records had been out and people had been able to listen to them.
Yeah.
And they also understood like, okay, this is like a special experience as opposed to like, I'm just going to an Acacia Strain show to mosh.
Yeah.
Which you're still going to mosh, but it's like, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's kind of like we want to make things as fun as we can, and it's also like we don't want to waste the tour on just like record release tour to hopefully boost some numbers that are arbitrary. Like promoters know how many tickets we're worth, and agents work very hard for us. So it's like we don't need to do that. And at this point, like 2 of us in the band have kids, like we all have families and like mortgages and bills and stuff like that, and stuff that you're like, I'm not going to be gone 9 months out of the year. Absolutely not.
Yeah, be more strategic
so it's like,
about it.
Yeah, it's like I'd rather the tour be like a really good support tour or like a big headliner like we just did.
Yeah,
because usually like a release tour is like, it's like 2 weeks of like playing smaller markets, which is cool, but it's also like we don't need to. I'm going to say that I'm really happy with how the record turned out. I think that like all of us in the band and Randy, who produced and like helped with writing as well, like I'm really proud of what everybody did. It was cool bringing Matt in to work on it with us, as a drummer, because we've had Kevin in the band for, I think he was in for 17 years, which is a crazy long time. I'm happy with it. I hope if you listen to it, I hope that you like it. If you don't, that's fine. I don't really know what to say. I hate when bands are like, this is our best record we've made yet. Cause it's like,
subjective.
It's subjective. That is up to whoever listens to it. Cause some people will be like, oh, their best record is this record. And I'm like, that record sucks. What are you talking about? So it's like, yeah, I hope you like it.
Yeah.
We like it. We're proud of it. And if you don't like it, that's too bad. And if you come to see us, we're going to play songs off of it. So deal with it.